6 men are under arrest for their alleged roles in a major drug operation. Prosecutors say the suspects had enough fentanyl to kill every single resident in Suffolk County, Long Island.
America, we just witnessed one of the largest fentanyl busts in New York history. Suffolk County authorities arrested 6 cartel members who had enough fentanyl to kill every single resident in the county. That's 1.5 million people. But here's what's really shocking. This massive drug operation was running from the Bronx all the way up to Long Island's East End, flooding American communities with poison while these criminals live like kings off of the suffering of our families. One of these dealers was literally sleeping with a loaded gun next to 3 kilograms of pure fentanyl.
This is a really big bust that we're talking about and part of the larger effort to get fentanyl off the streets and these drugs coming in from land and sea.
What is up, guys? TYSON DELACRUZ here. Thank you so much for rocking with me. This bust perfectly shows how Mexican cartels have turned American neighborhoods into their personal drug distribution centers. While politicians talk about comprehensive immigration reform, these foreign criminals are literally poisoning our kids and destroying our communities for profit. Let me break down the absolutely staggering scope of this drug operation. Suffolk County District Attorney Ray Tierney announced that authorities seized more than 14 kilograms of controlled substances, including 4.5 kilograms of fentanyl and about 10,000 fentanyl pills.
A big bust on Long Island. Investigators say 6 men were running enough fentanyl to kill everyone who lives in Suffolk County.
The takedown was significant, not just because this operation spanned from the Bronx to Suffolk County, but because law enforcement recovered enough fentanyl to kill the entire 1.5 million population of Suffolk County.
Let me put this in perspective. Every kilogram of fentanyl represents 500,000 potential overdose deaths. That means these 6 criminals had enough poison to kill 2.25 million people, more than the entire population of the county. This wasn't some small-time drug dealing operation. This was an industrial-scale chemical warfare against American families.
What they recovered, narcotics, including heroin, cocaine, and a trove of pills laced with deadly fentanyl.
This operation was so sophisticated, it stretched from the Bronx to Long Island's East End. These weren't just street dealers. They were part of a coordinated network that authorities believe have connections directly to the Mexican cartel. They were importing death and distributing it throughout some of America's most affluent communities. Now, let me tell you about the cartel connection that the authorities discovered. This wasn't just local drug dealing. This was a sophisticated pipeline bringing Mexican cartel drugs directly into American suburbs.
Because the supply chain was far-reaching.
We believe that these drugs that ended up here in Long Island are coming from the Mexican cartels.
This is exactly what I've been telling you guys. The cartels aren't just operating at the border. They're running distribution networks deep into American communities.
This operation, led by the district attorney's office, was also made with help from the DEA and local police, turning up cocaine, heroin, and pressed pills, all part of a network that investigators say that they have been tracking for months. So
the fact that this network reached all the way to East Long Island shows how sophisticated this operation was. The Hamptons, some of the most expensive real estate in America, were being used as a distribution point for cartel fentanyl. Now, let me tell you about the specific criminals who were arrested, because their behavior shows exactly how dangerous these cartel operations are. Miguel Torres, 26 years old, was found sleeping in his bedroom with a loaded handgun when police raided his home.
Plus, at the home of Miguel Torres in Wyandanch, at least 3 kilos of suspected fentanyl.
That's enough fentanyl to kill all 1.5 million residents of Suffolk County.
Torres found sleeping in his bedroom with a loaded handgun.
At Torres's residence, law enforcement recovered 3 kilograms of fentanyl, 5 kilograms of heroin, 1 kilogram of cocaine, and 2,000 fentanyl pills, and that loaded handgun he was sleeping with. This man had enough drugs in his house to kill hundreds of thousands of people, and he was ready to shoot up anybody who tried to stop him.
There's always violence associated with drugs. And to argue that it's not is either a misinformed interpretation or just plain stupidity.
These aren't peaceful entrepreneurs. They're armed criminals who are willing to kill to protect their poison distribution networks. The other defendants include John Collado, 26 years old, Anthony Dominguez, 33 years old, Eugenis Polino, 25 years old, Luigi Peralta, 31 years old from the Bronx, David Priest, 35 years old. This was a coordinated network spanning multiple counties involving multiple generations of criminals. This investigation that brought down this network was incredibly sophisticated. Between April and October 2025, undercover officers made 13 separate drug purchases from these dealers, buying a total of 7,441 fentanyl pills and 2.8 kilograms of cocaine.
Investigators sharing the update that we've got 6 individuals who have been arrested that were selling to undercover narcotics officers from April to October. So this all came to a conclusion.
The street value of drugs purchased during the investigation was more than $245,000. But that's just what undercover officers bought. The total value of drugs seized was in the millions. These criminals were making massive profits off of the destruction of American families.
Counterfeit pills can be sold over social media, paid for with cash apps, and delivered straight to your doorstep.
As investigators explained, counterfeit pills are sold over social media, paid for with cash apps, and delivering straight to your doorstep. They were using modern technology to make it easier than ever for people to buy poison. The pills were designed to look like legitimate oxycodone, blue in color with the M30 marking. But instead of pain medication, they contained deadly fentanyl that could kill somebody with just one pill. The weapons that authorities seized show exactly how dangerous these cartel operations are. This wasn't just about drugs. These criminals were armed for war against American law enforcement.
In fact, police say they seized several illegal weapons, high-capacity magazines, and military-style ammo as well.
Listen to this stack. Law enforcement recovered 2 Taurus 9mm pistols, 1 Glock 43 pistol, 1 Mossberg 22 caliber rifle, 1 Mossberg 20 gauge shotgun, 7 high-capacity rounds, including 50-round drum-style magazines, and 1 military-style green ammunition can filled with ammunition.
There are hundreds of parents right here on Long Island who are suffering heartbreak like I am.
Carol Trottier of Oldfield lost her son Alex to accidental fentanyl poisoning. Since his tragic death, 2018, she's been on a mission.
These people, I don't even call them drug dealers anymore. They're death dealers.
And these death dealers are armed with enough firepower to fight off a small army. The fact that they had a drum magazine with 50-round capacity shows that they were prepared for extended gun battles with law enforcement. These weren't just drug dealers. They were domestic terrorists using chemical and conventional weapons against American communities. The human cost of operations like this is absolutely staggering. Thousands have died in Long Island since the opioid crisis began, and each one of those deaths represents a family destroyed by poison these criminals were distributing.
Yet last year there was a drop in fatal overdoses.
Declines can be traced to increased prevention and education programs, Narcan, and collaborative efforts between social services and law enforcement.
Which is great, but again, that's not any reason for complacency.
We're not out of the woods yet. We can't afford taking our foot off the gas.
Operations like this show exactly why the cartels are constantly adapting and finding new ways to poison American communities.
And officials here say today's bust has saved countless lives. When you look at the drugs that are out on the table right now at this press conference here behind me, you see just how truly dangerous this could have been if they had been out on the streets.
But for every network they shut down, there are probably 10 more operating in the shadows, bringing cartel poison to American neighborhoods. The 21st century drug trade operates through social media, cash apps, and home deliveries, easier than ever for young people to accidentally buy fentanyl, thinking they're getting something else. else, and easier than ever for them to die from just one pill. The legal consequences these criminals are facing show exactly how serious the justice system is taking this threat. John Corlato, the apparent ringleader, was charged with 12 counts of first-degree criminal sale of a controlled substance and faces up to 20 years in prison if convicted. But here's what really matters. This investigation shows that when law enforcement agencies work together and take the cartel threat seriously, they can achieve real results. The Suffolk County District Attorney East End Drug Task Force, working with federal agents, dismantling a network that was poisoning communities from the Bronx to the Hamptons. This is the kind of aggressive law enforcement we need to see more of, not just arresting street-level dealers, but going after the entire network and treating cartel operations like the terrorist organizations they really are. America, this Suffolk County drug bust shows exactly what we're up against in the war on drugs. Mexican cartels are operating sophisticated distribution networks that reach deep into American communities, bringing enough poison to kill entire counties. These weren't just drug dealers. These were chemical terrorists armed with military-style weapons and enough fentanyl to commit genocide against American families. They were sleeping with loaded guns next to kilograms of poison, ready to kill anybody who tried to stop this operation. The fact that this network reached from the Bronx to the east end of Long Island shows how sophisticated these cartels' operations have become. They're using social media, cash apps, and home delivery to make it easier than ever before to accidentally buy death. Carol was right when she called them death dealers instead of drug dealers. That's exactly what they are, merchants of death who profit off of the destruction of American families and communities. This bust saved countless lives by getting 14 kilograms of controlled substances off the streets, including enough fentanyl to kill 1.5 million people. But it also shows how much work we still have to do to protect our communities from cartel terrorism. We need more operations like this, more coordination between agencies, and more recognition that the cartels aren't just criminals. They're foreign terrorist organizations waging chemical warfare against American citizens. Let me know what you think about this. Drop it down in the comment section down below. Smash the like button if you kindly would. Share, subscribe, and as always, guys, I'll catch you on the next one.